Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. And today, it is the beginning of August when I'm filming this. I am releasing this on the 123rd anniversary of the author's death, and it just, timing worked out that way. It wasn't planned, but you know, it worked out that way. So today we are going to do another classic romance author spotlight, and in this one we're going to talk about Georgette Heyer. She is best known for her Regency romances, but first let's do a little background on who she is. She was born, it's the 123rd anniversary of her birth, not her death. On the 16th of August, 1902, in Wimbledon, England. She was born to Victorian parents. She was she lived for 8 years under Queen Victoria, and most of her formative years were in Edwardian England. She was the first daughter of her parents. She had two younger brothers, Boris and Robert. That's not his name, it's right here. Who were at least 5 years younger than her. And she was a quiet, very Victorian in nature daughter. She loved to read. She was introspective. She, was the proud daughter of Victorian parents. And in 1921, at 19, her first ever book was published. The book is The Black Moth. Here's the cover. And it was written as a story to cheer up her sick brother, Boris. And her father was so impressed with her storytelling and her writing that he urged her to submit it for publication. It was published, and thus began her career at the age of 21. In 1926, she marries George Ronald Rogier. They had one child, and he was a mining engineer. And soon they found themselves in Africa, and then in Macedonia. And she insisted that they return home to England if they were going to have a child. And so that happened. And her husband was never really a great engineer. He didn't enjoy it. It wasn't his first choice in life. And so her novels were so successful, she's been publishing novels since 1921, that she was the primary breadwinner in her family. And beginning in 1932, she publishes 2 books a year. And in general, at least one of those books is a romance, and then it is most likely going to be a mystery of some kind. So in total, she has published 66 works, 32 of which are romance novels. She has 6 historical novels, 4 contemporary novels, 12 detective novels, and 2 essays. And she is related to our first author spotlight in this series, and I will link that video down below, Barbara Cartland. In 1950, she accuses Barbara Cartland of plagiarism. The case never goes to court. She eventually drops the claim, And she claims that Barbara Cartland plagiarized Friday's Child, and Cartland turns it into A Hazard of Hearts. And the Knave of Hearts, she also claims, was plagiarized. But these are just allegations. Yes, there are similarities, but she never takes it to court. She never proves the allegation, and so it's just a claim. There's very little mention of the plagiarism claim on the sites devoted to Georgette Heyer. The Cartland sites all talk about it in great detail. So I am surprised that the Georgette Heyer sites do not substantiate the claims. True or not, I think both authors tainted themselves in the whole affair. It's not like at this point either author was hurting for sales, popularity, readers. There was more than enough room in the market for both of them. So I don't think this served them well. And unlike Barbara Cartland, who loved the media, Georgette Heyer did not. She had a novel published in 1929, pictures on the screen, that was published during the general strike. And I need to go turn that fan down. It's really annoying. So her book is published during the general strike in Britain, which if you don't know anything about, I will link an article in the description box down below. And newspapers weren't being printed. There was no publicity about her work, about her newest release. And yet, the book sold incredibly well during this time. And for the rest of her life, she pointed to that fact and gave no interviews. She was an intensely private person. She did not allow the press to intrude on her family life. She did not, sit down and host media and discuss her works and her vision for the future. So she was truly the mirror opposite of Barbara Cartland. And I find the interweaving of these two authors and their, juxtaposition against each other just absolutely fascinating. She did have one almost continuous thread throughout her life, and that was tax difficulties. It all came to the head in Pickles the Bird. So in 1950, she establishes a limited liability company to handle her business ventures, to alleviate the tax concerns. There's a tax investigator that comes and claims that she is, paid herself too much money and she owes back taxes yet again. And in order to pay off those back taxes, she publishes 2 essays to, pay the fees. They were published in Punch magazine, and the 2 essays were books about the Brontes and how to be a literary writer. If I can find the essays, I will link them down below. And taxes seem to have been the bane of her existence for her entire life. So I think I own 10 books from her on Kindle. I have a couple more coming in my birthday haul, but there's one in particular that is Pickles the Bird. No! Do you want a shower today? Because I will shower you. Yeah. And it will inadvertently help the chickens who are full of pin feathers. Okay. So, that was Penhollow. And it is her most controversial book. And I just happen to have a copy of it. Someone undoubtedly was clearing out their grandmother's estate and didn't realize the value of this book. And I picked it up for $1. It's never leaving my shelves. So, her UK publisher declined to publish the book, which she was fine. That broke their contract. Let her get a new UK publisher. Okay, where was I before Pickles decided he needed a bath today? So, her UK publisher breaks the contract. She gets a new publisher. And her US publisher in when was this published? I want to say it's 1950, but that may not be right. 1942 was Doubleday, who did not like the book. They published it, however. But after publication, they ended their relationship, and she got a new US publisher. So, in case you're interested, I will read you the back description of Penhollow. A family tyrant whose murder has shocking and far-reaching consequences. Hated for his cruel and vicious nature, yet ruling his family with an iron hand from his sickbed, tyrannical patriarch Adam Penhollow is found murdered the day before his birthday. His entire family has assembled for his birthday celebration, and every one of them had the ways and means to commit the crime. An accusation and suspicion turn in one direction, then another. The claws and backstabbing come out, and no one is exempt from the coming implosion. I am immensely curious about this book. I wanted to get it read before I filmed this video. I did not. I do not remember reading this one growing up. I did read a lot of Georgette Heyer growing up, but this one does not strike any sort of remembrance in the back of my brain. So I am looking forward to it immensely. She is most famous for her Regency romances. She sets them before and after the Regency period. So most of her romances range from 1785 to, I believe it's 1825. And so the Georgian period, the Regency period, and then post-Regency, slightly. And they are by far what she is known for. She had an extensive personal reference library. At the time of her death in 1974, she had over 1,000 reference books in her personal library. That does not count all of the clippings she had in various journals with unattributed sources for the material, from everything. And those clippings included everything from, examples of snuff boxes to examples of ladies' hats and men's hats. She had an extensive knowledge of English history and fashion and, language, the whole 9 yards. And that is why her Regency novels are so authentic. It's because she knew what she was talking about. And she had the reference material and the historical background to back it up. And you can't argue with the woman for that. So she has 5 series. The most prolific series is one of her mystery series, that is the Country House series. She has 12 books in that series. She has 5 books in the Inspector Hennessy series. She has 4 books in the Inspector Hemingway series. The Alistair Audley series is 4 books, and the Balvet Dynasty is a duology. In general, she has 66 books attributed to her name, and after looking at multiple sites, I don't want to say agreed upon because there is no agreed upon here, but the ones cited most commonly as her 10 best books are, in reverse order, Sylvester, Arabella, Cotillion, The Devil's Club, These Old Shades, The Quiet Gentleman, Frederica, Venetia, Friday's Child, and The Grand Sophie. Now, I know I own Frederica off the top of my head. I may own 1 or 2 others on this list, but if I don't own them, I probably read them growing up, because I'm just going to be honest. Growing up, I could not get enough of her. I read her voraciously, and I am not kidding. I loved her books more than Jane Austen. That would be a surprise to none of you who've watched this channel regularly. The banter and the, details and the accuracy were all just absolute draws for me, both, as a young teen and at this stage in my life. You can lose yourself in the worlds she creates. Be it a contemporary novel for her time, it would be historical fiction today, or, a Regency romance. You will lose yourself in the details and the character work and the banter and the relationships. Are all of her novels of the same quality? No, like any writer, she has ups and downs. Not every novel you pick up by her is going to be your favorite, but if you want to get a glimpse of the past and various times in the past from the same person, and not have them be short, flippant glimpses into the past, I strongly recommend Georgette Heyer. She is just immersive, like I said. And, we really don't know a lot about her personal life with her family and her, her child and her husband, because she was so intensely private. And I don't have a problem with that. I really, really don't. I don't think writers need to be, splashed across the front page to have their works worthy of being read. And she is a great example of that. And I am deeply bold as punch. Okay, what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyway, if you are looking for a new author to try and you are not afraid to dip your toes into the past, she is available electronically. You can buy the books new, but they are on the expensive side for a new version. A original will be ludicrously expensive. Some of them are available on Kindle Unlimited, and they are available on Audible. I'm not sure if they're not available at my local library. They may be available at yours. So there are multiple ways to try her, and I highly recommend it. If you see a good condition copy of her book out in public, you know, browsing the used bookstore, and you're willing to take a gamble, go for it. This one was released in 2019. I'm not getting rid of it. It was re-released by the Poison Pen Press, which is an imprint of Source Books. So I assume they have the rights to her stuff. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. If you've read her, do you have one to recommend? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.